Guys, welcome back to HBL. Jab continues to assert his dominance with Druid over everyone he's played against with it. I am Nathan, that's Admirable Zamora, joined by the Tan and Grace. Muzzy, man, I got a feel for him. Kind of brutal in that game. Just really wasn't to get anything going in that match. And no 4-drop on turn 4. He had to use Fan of Knives just to pick up an extra card to make sure that he had something going forward.
Yeah, his opening draw was not very good. His deck didn't bail him out after that. He didn't draw any of the early minions that he really needs to get his game plan going. So it's going to be interesting to see what he plays here in Game 2 of Jab versus Muzzy, which we're going into right now.
Yeah, see how they adjusted to everything that's going on here. By the way, get out there on Twitter, by the way. Use that hashtag HPL. Let everyone know exactly what you expect. And Jab queuing up Druid once again here, but now there's Harrison Jones in this opening hand, and Muzzy has gone over to a Warrior deck. And with Gnomish Inventor and Unstable Ghoul in his opening hand, I have to believe this is Grim Patron Warrior.
Yeah, this has to be Grim Patron Warrior with an Unstable Ghoul. That's a pretty cool one. We don't always see that in all the Grim Patron Warrior decks, and Jab just snap keeps his Harrison Jones and mulligans everything else because it's going to be so big in this matchup.
Can be such an important card, but his opening hand
is so bad.
Oh gosh, this is ugly. I mean, 25 mana worth of cards in your opening hand. That's not what you want on turn 2?
Oh, he drew a 2-drop.
Well, sort of like a 2-drop. He can maybe answer a minion here, but he's just going to be hero powering for a couple turns. He needs something to really start putting his deck ahead of the curve.
Yeah, and you see Muzzy actually just nodding his head yes when Jab just goes hero power go. That's one of the best feelings in the world when you're playing against
Oh, just go ahead and add another 7-drop to it.
Oh yeah, this hand looks great.
I mean, you know, we talked about the consequence of Muzzy playing a deck that needs the right mix of minions and spells. Well, this is a consequence that you can have when you're playing Druid at times too. It can be very inconsistent from time to time. When you get hands like these, there is the potential to get absolutely blown out of the game.
Yeah, even an Innervate is not the greatest top deck in the world here because he'd only be able to play Harrison Jones. That's not really what he wants to be doing here, and there is the Innervate actually drawn this.
Yeah, he can play the Sylvanas as well.
He actually is going
but
to
Sylvanas still isn't looking too appealing on this board. I mean, what he's going to look at right now is how he deals with this Unstable Ghoul behind this Acolyte of Pain. He happens to have the perfect card for that. So, you know, very good for him to not allow Muzzy to get a ton of draws off that Acolyte of Pain. Such an important card to have in this matchup and to be getting value from as well.
Yeah, he already has an Unstable Ghoul in play. It's really dangerous to leave an Acolyte of Pain in play multiple turns against any deck, but especially the Grim Patron Warrior deck because they have so many ways to deal 1 damage to it and get a ton of value off it, and that's all they really want to do early in the game is apply any pressure they can, keep the board a little bit clear, and draw a lot of cards.
Yeah, so now is really the first interesting turn that we have from Jab. I mean, it's been kind of a while getting to this point, but you know, something that Grim Patron doesn't always do is apply a ton of early game pressure. It likes to kind of dig into its deck and then find a lot of options across the board. And right now, Muzzy is picking up a ton of options. So I absolutely cannot blame him for going for Dr. Boom here, but Muzzy has got an Execute already in his hand, so this board position going to be checked.
Yeah, this Unstable Ghoul is going to do a ton of work, and if he wants to here, he's got Grim Patron. He can go off quite a bit this turn with Grim Patron, Whirlwind, involving the coin, and an Unstable Ghoul trigger. There's a chance his whole board gets full here this turn.
Just a little bit of luck could really turn this game into a disaster for Jab. To not have that early pressure against Warrior early on is something that you absolutely want to be having. But right now, Muzzy's the one who's in complete control. He's got Execute to deal with this Dr. Boom. I have to believe that Grim Patron's going to come out this turn. If you get at all lucky from these Boom bots, the game is just going to be ended from the amount of pressure that you have.
Yep, here we go. We're going to have to see what these Boom bots do. It's kind of like juggling from Knife Juggler. Let's see where it ends up.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it hits for 4. That is, you know, a blessing. That is a very big blessing there from Jab, and you can see Muzzy kind of shaking his head about it, like, not the best result in the world. But he still has his Grim Patron on board. This is still a little bit of a threat from Jab. He has to figure out exactly how he deals with this. In this position, I've got to believe that Sylvanas looks like a very tempting option here.
Yeah, Sylvanas looks like a great play here this turn. It's you could Force of Nature and do some clearing, but I don't think that is the greatest play in the world. Plus, you might need it to actually finish this game off later. But it looks like he is actually going to clear with the Force of Nature here.
So valuing the Sylvanas over the Force of Nature. He doesn't have Savage Roar. He hasn't applied a lot of the pressure this game, so kind of recognizing his game plan. Take a step back, use these cards for removal. This is kind of turning into a grind at this point. So try to run your opponent down to, you know, just a few options left. In Druid, one of the best in that sort of scenario always has a lot of late game draws that it can pick up, and so he's relying on that draw density to really carry him through this game.
And you're going to see Muzzy really develop his board here, getting Armor Smith, Dread Corsair, and a Fireworks. And he doesn't attack with his Fireworks. You're going to get a lot of value off Harrison Jones this turn if Jab decides he wants to do that.
Yeah, something else I want to look at here too is whether or not he wants to Wild Growth this turn. Again, his hand's been very heavy, so if he Wild Growths, he's only going to be utilizing that mana for a very short period of time. And since this game has turned into a grind, how much does he want to just hold on to that Wild Growth and try to get the extra card out of it later? Sylvanas also a totally fine play in this scenario. Jab he's looking for even bigger value from that Harrison Jones. I think a lot of this is a nod to how efficient his plays are going to be moving forward.
Yeah, his curve is going to be great for the next couple turns if he wants. There was something to be said about Harrison Jones and Wild Growthing that turn and then having 9 mana the next turn, and you could do something like Piloted Shredder and Druid of the Claw, however you want to do it from there. But it just depends on how he thinks the game is going to play out against Muzzy for this game. He just decided that Sylvanas was a better play this turn.
Yeah, this does force some awkward plays here from Muzzy as well. If he wants to kill this Sylvanas, he's going to have to overkill it and take some damage in the process, or he's going to have to waste a card doing this. And with a hand that's constructed the way Muzzy's is right now, there's not a very good option for killing this Sylvanas. Either way you do it is going to be ineffective.
Yeah, Muzzy losing that Grim Patron very early was just so bad for him. He didn't get any extra value off it. He got pretty unlucky on the Boombox there that the first one immediately killed it, and the second one didn't do any damage to the one that he had left over because he's actually just kind of spinning his wheels here now. He doesn't have a ton of action. He has no way to draw extra cards right now, and that's what he needs really bad out of his deck.
Yeah, doesn't have the Acolyte of Pain that he played early on. Hasn't found himself a Battle Rage. His Grim Patron got checked early on. You can see here he'd much rather use his life total than use a Whirlwind at this point. Whirlwind can be such a key card in this matchup when you have stuff like Battle Rage, when you have stuff like Acolyte of Pain, and so he's just going to favor taking some damage to do it. And so Jab, this is looking now like a very fantastic position for Jab. Now, of course, he does want to handle this Warsong Commander, so it's a matter of whether or not he's going to charge into it or use something like the Ragnaros, and I would tend to think that he wants to be taking guarantees to make sure that this minion doesn't stay on the board.
Yeah, even if he wants to do it, he still has Harrison Jones available to this turn if he wants to just take out this weapon and protect his Druid of the Claw here, but it looks like he might just pilot his Shredder instead.
Yeah, to me, when he plays it this way, he is hunting to kill a Death Spite with Harrison Jones. He wants Muzzy to invest in a position where he's going to try to end the game with the second Death Spite swing and then a Grommash behind it, and he wants to take away that ability. So being very patient here with Harrison Jones. Sort of in the past, when I've watched players do this, it hasn't always been a very successful strategy.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't always work out for you. Sometimes you're left with this Harrison Jones stranded over in your hand, and you lose the game by a card or two. But I do like that Jab actually has a plan for it, though. He knows what's important in the matchup, knows that he needs to watch out for a Death Spite, because if he can proc it when he needs to, instead of when Muzzy wants to, it might be a really big turning point in the game.
Yeah, certainly can be. But at this point, Muzzy has to be worried about the pressure that's coming out of him. He's seen Force Nature, so I don't think he's thinking as much about like Force Nature Savage Roar. But you can't just keep taking damage from 4-power minions. That very quickly adds up to a death on your side of the board. And when your opponent has, gone into this turn doing this, what are they doing next turn? You're always going to be in fear of something like just more big minions, even something like Ancient Allure.
Yeah, Muzzy decides to put out the Frothing Berserker here this turn. He could maybe saved it for a huge turn of Warsong Commander later. He has double Whirlwind in his hand, but maybe he's thinking that he needs to start pushing, get a couple damage in, and try to finish this off of Grom. And Jab is going to pick off this. I have to believe he's going to pick off this Frothing Berserker immediately. That thing can get so out of control in this matchup.
Yeah, and not only that, it just follows through in his game plan. Again, he's been trying to grind Muzzy out of the game, picks up Ancient Watcher off of it. So actually, that's not the worst minion in the world because Keeper of the Grove is not fantastic in this matchup. If he draws something like Keeper of the Grove, he's got a 4/5 sitting there. Ragnaros is going to come down and he says, let's go. 8 points of damage to the dome. And sitting at 14, once again, I don't think Muzzy is fearing Force Nature Savage Roar at this point. He's already seen a Force Nature. But you cannot be comfortable looking at this board position.
Yeah, you can't be comfortable staring down a Ragnaros with no real clean way to answer it. Muzzy would have to use his Grommash to take care of it if that's what he wants to do, but that seems like giving up a lot of value in a lot of ways that you have left to win in this game, and Jab is just going to sit behind this Ragnaros for the rest of the game. He's okay with whatever target it hits.
Yeah, so, this is really kind of an interesting turn now. If he uses Whirlwind, I expect that he's going to trade with the Ragnaros, but if he does something like crazy, like Inner Rage, just pushes for face and hope that Ragnaros hits the wrong targets. It's something he can definitely think about. The other thing, too, is that Whirlwind could still be effective and coupled with something like Battle Rage, so he may want to save it for that, even despite using the Inner Rage, but, this is a really, really potentially crazy turn that could happen here now. Wow, and he's going for the dome pressure.
I really like Muzzy going for face here, this pressure, because I feel that it's one of the only ways he can win this game. If he tries to sit behind, if he just trades off this Ragnaros, Jab is eventually going to be able to value him out. Muzzy doesn't really have anything going, so he needs to get something going. And getting 14 points.
Oh, you talk about
draw.
getting something going. That is a huge draw right now. going to be able to kill Grommash, utilizing the Keep of the Grove. You know, I just mentioned the Ancient Watcher wasn't the worst drop in the world for him. He's able to make full effect of that right now.
Yeah, this big game hunter's going to take care of this Grommash very easily. He's also, I think is he cycling this Raptor? He's just going to deal 3 damage to it and use his hero power to finish off this, this Gnome Machine.
He's got to be killing it. He wants the extra damage from Ragnaros and to be threatening lethal, and that is all but going to end this game here.
That's going to put 8 damage into Muzzy's face. Muzzy's going to move down to 6. Jab is at 13. Muzzy does have a Warsong Commander in his hand, so if he draws a Frothing Berserker or a Grim Patron, that is going to be enough to win this game. Now, Battle Rage, that's not a terrible card. He's going to draw him 2 cards here, or he's going to cycle it just, okay. He is actually going to cast War 1, so he gets to cycle it for 2 cards here. He's looking for Frothing Berserker.
Slam is not going to be enough. Deathspite's not going to be enough either. I mean, excuse me, the pressure has just been too much from Jab in this game. The fact that he panned out so beautifully and then got that wonderful draw, Fate just decided that this was Jab's day. I mean, to be able to pick off a Grommash after your opponent's just gone all in, massive effects that are happening moving forward.
Yeah, and Muzzy's going to draw another card here with Slam. He could have maybe killed the BGH and just hoped that he randomly didn't take 8 from Ragnaros here, but, you know, Jab already has the foil in his hand. He has the Keeper of the Grove to clear out this Warsong Commander. He would have been able to do enough damage to kill Muzzy here. So we're going to see Jab get his 2nd win here in this match.
Yeah, really excellent stuff from him. And once again, that big game hunter draw. Man, that card is so brutal at times. There's just absolutely nothing you could do about it in certain situations. Jab, though, taking a 2-0 lead now. Both game wins with Druid. So, I mean, Muzzy's got to have a little bit of a read here. You know, we talked about Jab not being stubborn in this game, but Muzzy has failed to adjust to these circumstances so far, and he finds himself down 2 games.
Yeah, we saw Jab snap keep a Harrison Jones' as opening hand, and he's going to end the game with that same Harrison Jones in his hand. Doesn't even need it against Muzzy's Warrior deck. You saw Ragnaros deal a ton of damage there, just completely control the board.
Yeah, just 24 casual damage.
Yeah, not a big deal.
That's usually the situation where that card ends up completely taking over a game, is when, you know, anytime a giant minion goes unchecked, that's an advantage usually to the player who has the unchecked minion. This time it was Ragnaros, and wow, I mean, just, I'm so still stunned by the big game hunter draw. And
that
also,
draw was great.
Sort of the fact that he didn't play the Harrison Jones. I mean, I don't know exactly what's going through his head in that situation, because it looked like it was just such a great play to pick up the options that maybe you needed and also kill a weapon. But I do like his patience in trying to throw off a Deathspite in a certain situation and really take control of the game.
Yeah, you said it must have been him waiting to get a Deathspite at the right time, because if you can keep Grim Patron Warrior away from the Whirlwind effects, if you can keep them from proccing you know, a Deathspite or casting a Whirlwind at the exact moment they need to, their deck becomes a little bit worse than it should be. It's not as good as it is if it can't combo out in the way that it needs to. So good patience there from Jab, showing, you know, a little understanding of the matchup. And, you know, sometimes it's hard to pass up that much value, but he had a plan in mind, executed it, and then won the game.
Yeah, you can head over to pvplive.net and check out the recap for yourself. Would you have played Harrison Jones in that spot? Because I think I'd have played Harrison Jones.
I'd have played Harrison Jones in that spot.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would have played Harrison Jones in that spot, but he's the one who's winning the games here, and he's the professional who's competing in HPL. So make sure you head over to the website, take a look at it, see what you would have done, use the hashtag HPL. Let us know if you would have played Harrison Jones or if you would have had the patience exactly like Jab did. Guys, when we come back, it's match point for Jab, and now Muzzy needs 3 straight to pick up this match. You're watching Hearthstone on PvP Live.